Thanks for staying with us. Now, Yoguda Burge was quoted to say, words are singularly the most powerful force available to humanity. We can choose to use this force constructively with words of encouragement or destructively using words of despair. Words have energy and power with the ability to help, to heal, to hinder, to hurt, to harm, to humiliate, and to humble. Now, in Nigeria today, there's a big communication gap as from government to people or people to government or people to people constantly have issues understanding what one party is saying. And this remains a big reason some problems linger. So my coach, our DJ of blessed memory, would always say, mispronounced words have the capacity to kill. So tonight we want to understand the impact of miscommunication, starting with right pronunciations. As simple as it may seem, this can completely change the meaning of what is being said. I hope you know that. All right, so let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. All right, so because we didn't have Jennifer in the first place, let me start with Jennifer. Jennifer, welcome. Sorry. How are you? Hi, Abuja.
I'm fine. Abuja is fine.
All right, so quickly, when you hear the word communication and, communicating right, what comes to your mind?
Basically exchanging information either by speaking or by writing, basically expressing oneself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
How about you, Isi?
Verbal.
Non-verbal
communication. So it now depends on the type of communication you are actually
There comes
doing.
the expert.
Sha, don't turn us to lecture hall today.
But the bottom line is verbal communication is essential. How you pronounce your words, how you articulate the words when you're speaking is essential. Why? That is how you actually communicate effectively.
That's it.
In Nigeria, we say the word says when it's supposed to be says.
Says.
So
no,
there are different ways.
Says instead of
says, not
yes.
says.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think there was a time I actually made the correction on the agape. Instead of agape, we say agape.
I think
so there are different ways we actually communicate. So pronunciation is essential. Like you said, pronunciation can kill.
No, it can. I didn't want me.
You're passionate about speaking properly. I'm trying to be adhesive right now.
How about you, Bilala? How good are you with communication?
I reckon I think I'm so good with communication because oftentimes I miscommunicate with my best of intention.
Okay.
And like a friend of mine would say, nobody can see your heart. Like, yeah, I know you have a beautiful heart, but come on. It's what you does that matters. So I know that effective communication is very critical to our relationship with your friends, with your business partner, on the workplace, whether you're running businesses, and even with the people you're involved with intimately. A lot of the time, challenges that we go through is as a result of wrong communication.
Miscommunication, absolutely.
Yeah, so I believe it's something that is critical and we need to work on it consistently.
I actually pay attention to words. I mean, when you're talking to me and there are specific words you use, I hold on to those words.
You do?
Yes,
Thank
I
you
do.
for telling me. So I can
I hold on to those words because for me, first of all, I like that when you say something, stick to what you say. Do not, and I mean, for me, words are very important to me. I think I'm very sensitive to words. I'm not so much of but it is just the choice of your words. I want to believe that whatever word is coming out of my mouth, I should believe it. And once I hold on to it and maybe you do something the opposite.
Contrary.
Let us bring in our guest. Regina Chris-Ogbodo is a broadcast journalist with more than 2 decades of experience. Amongst many things, she is a member of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, a member of the Chair Blair Foundation, an ambassador of global peace under the UNESCO. Now currently serving as the CEO of Reggie Panache Training Consult. I'm trying today, where they teach pupils on proper diction, elocution, and presentation while raising great speakers. They also help corporate organizations reposition their staff by improving their communication skills with direct training on public speaking and social intelligence. She recently authored a book titled entitled The New Normal and a guide to online moderating. And she's here in the capacity of her new role as the Vice President of the Association of Diction Coaches of Nigeria. No, I needed to do that because I'm sure RJ will be smiling. Is going Diction Coaches. Hi, RJ, my coach. But thank you so much for coming, Regina.
You're welcome, and you did a great job.
Panache.
You know, you took your time to pronounce each word, albeit, well, I'm not in class, so let's go on. Let's go on.
But you know, communication has remained one of the biggest challenges that I see happening. I mean, again, when you look at, for instance, our Minister for Information and Communication, or the Commissioner for Information, or the people that are supposed to be at the front burner disseminating information to the people, you always see that there's a huge disconnect. You know, I don't know whether it's coming from the place of where people do not trust the people in government, or I don't know what that is, but I also believe that there's a role where communicating right plays, you know, in passing an information. Maybe you should help us break it down. How important is it to communicate right?
Absolutely, without sounding like a broken bottle or whatever you want to call it. Communication cannot be removed from humanity. Absolutely. It's actually the vehicle that makes humanity what it is. Whatever ever happens on earth without communication, we wouldn't have gotten there. So it's a given that without communication, there would not be progress, there would not be development, and of course, there would not be growth. Talking about, you know, it's a wide concept of, let me put it that way. Yes, it's a wide concept, but we could decide to put it within the caveat of what we're talking about. What am I saying? What do I expect as a response from you when I talk to you matters a lot. I could say something, yes, I spoke, but does not mean that I actually said what should be said, because your response to me would determine if what I conveyed was actually what I needed to return back to me. And so in Nigeria, we...
Sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
And we have that communication gap across. You've mentioned that the minister, the commissioners, not because they did not go to school. We always try to say that. It's not because they didn't go to school, but because the vehicle they use in sending the message always isn't right. You talked about say and says. Exactly. Now, a typical Hausa person like me, once you say, you're speaking English and you get to the point and you say, my mind goes off, because what it means in Hausa is entirely something else. So if we agree that English is our lingua franca, why not say it right?
Precisely.
We're not copying, but we need to speak it right. I cannot say legally ayorinde, and then I'll go Anglo-Saxon by saying legally. It's insulting and it's disrespectful. So if we must speak that language properly, why not convey the way it ought to be done? And moreover, we should agree that the world's main language, whether you like it or not, irrespective of the number of people on earth, English is the vehicle. So let's use it well. That's the point.
So you can step in.
Wait,
okay.
Don't step anything.
So we run foul of the law, not using the right diction when we're speaking English.
Absolutely, we run foul of it.
Irrespective of the fact that some of us have got...
It's not our...
No, not that.
Accent and all the factors.
You know, when a non-Yoruba person speaks Yoruba, they're speaking with an accent. If it is not your languages, there's a bit of a mother tongue interference with pronunciation. Not everybody is going to be comfortable enough. I love the way you speak, by the way.
Thank
you need to see me listen to you like a song. You sound like a bird singing.
Thank you.
You know,
so
I
much.
remember, I love the way people speak, and I love to speak properly. I'm still struggling with my right pronunciation and everything, but it is something that I'm conscious of, and I would love to work on it.
Okay.
Right. So I mentioned that to her before because I think I like her better. I'm going to follow her. She's going to be my teacher.
Enjoy.
I love the fact that you're from the
My
northern
darling.
part of the country and nothing in your pronunciation reflects your ethnic background.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We need to be
Thank
able to
you.
dissociate ourselves from our root. I don't think I agree
Exactly.
with that.
I'm not dissociated. In fact, I cannot do that. If I should speak Hausa right now, you would never believe that I speak English.
Precisely.
That's the truth.
So you'll be
The
able to
ability
to switch,
to switch.
effectively.
That's
and
the word.
maintain the natural
Naturalness.
Please, can you say something in Hausa to me? The Anla Nabi.
To da shi kin yi magana da Hausa.
haka
Kin yi
ne.
magana da Hausa. You know, that the point is this. When an Englishman wants to speak Hausa, he consciously and deliberately wants to speak it the way the tones
with intonations.
rise and fall. Why don't we learn such? I've seen Chinese, I've seen Germans speak Hausa that you would never believe. If you don't see them, you would never believe that there were no Hausa people. So why not just learn it? Because
So
we're
I think
human.
the problem we have is that we think it's just because it's not my tongue or something, I don't need to learn. But I mean, I get your point. But let me come to. I will come to Jennifer.
No, go
before I
to
come to you.
Jennifer. Go to Jennifer.
I want to come because you are in the same WhatsApp group.
Oh my goodness.
We are the leaders here.
We are the
Jennifer, are you
leaders.
there?
Yes,
No, man should have been
Go ahead, Jennifer.
She fits this brief too. Exactly.
Okay, so for me, basically, when it comes to communication, I feel like it's when you say something or you're passing across information to the other person or you're speaking to someone and they can understand you clearly. They understand what you are saying. Now, when it comes to the government, they don't communicate. They basically just speak to us. They tell us what they want us to do and what they expect of us. They just put it out there and then that's it. That's why you have the president having forums where he's basically just reading from a paper and then you don't have reporters who are there to actually ask him questions. But then when you bring it down to the regular Nigerian, I saw a page on Instagram. It's a school where they teach kids phonetics. And honestly, I was very disappointed because a lot of people are always carrying phonetics on their head and making it seem like that's everybody has to speak like that. The truth is, we can't all speak like that. We cannot all speak like that. There are people who have these accents, and till thy kingdom come, those accents will never go away. The only thing that I feel like they can do is to work on their English and work on their diction to make sure that they are pronouncing the words right so that the next person can understand what they are saying. The video I saw on Instagram, the reason why I said I was very disappointed is because these kids were starting to sound like they had hot yam in their mouth. And they were starting to sound like they had British accent or American accent. And it is not needed. We are Nigerians. We are supposed to sound like Nigerians. Now, before, I used to be one of those people where when you hear an Igbo person speaking with an Igbo accent, you're like, I'm Igbo. And I've seen people, Hausas, or even people from Akwa Ibom or Calabar or Yoruba, where they have those dictions or those accents so that when they speak, you can easily identify the tribe this person is coming from. But guess what? Recently, I saw somewhere where somebody said something. The person said that not a lot of us had the opportunity to grow up in the city. Some people grew up in the villages, and they also went to their universities there, but they had these accents. And I don't think that anyone should be trying to get rid of their tribal accent just because you're supposed to sound a certain type of way.
Okay.
I feel like as far as you can communicate, you're pronouncing your words right, and the person beside you can understand you clearly, then I think you're good.
So let me say something. I would like you to respond to
I would
Jennifer.
definitely love
Because
to.
there was something that I used to say. So when I say I want to ask you a question, when I go, I want to ask you a question. This ask was
Exactly.
heaven that delivered me from ask. So again, and I hear a lot of people say, I want to ask you a question. Ask is A-X-E.
Yeah.
Meaning you want to key somebody.
That's it.
You know, so I understand that part of where Jennifer is talking about not losing your mother tongue or whatever. But English remains English. And English, if you must speak it, you must speak it right. But you know what? Let's take a very short break. When we come back from the break, I'll let you respond to Jennifer. Then
Thank you.
I can now bring in Isi. If you just tuned in, we're talking with panache. We're having an amazing chat with Regina Chris-Ogbodo on the impact of communicating right. Now, please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. So before we went on a break, I said something about, you know, speaking English and speaking it right. And I would like for you to address the concerns that Jennifer raised as to losing her mother tongue or sounding British.
Yeah. Okay, Jennifer, very fantastic analogy, but I beg to disagree with you because I think there is this defensiveness people put on once you talk about speaking right. And I'm wondering why. I really wonder why we should be so defensive about it. We're not complaining when it comes to Western dressing. We want to look completely American. We want to look completely English and not mind, yet we want to think that tongue is actually the only thing that would identify us as Nigerians. And I'm wondering why.
Where you got your tongue?
You know, I wonder, but I think sometimes without, you know, I don't want to be derogatory, but I think sometimes it's just mental laziness of not wanting to rise up to the challenge of speaking right, because there is something that happens to us when we meet the Englishman. We inadvertently want to speak like him. Mm-hmm. We've seen people in the crowd like that. Suddenly you see an American and then you want to say, I gonna do this. Not necessarily. Immediately you meet an American. You want to talk like him. Yeah. But why not just be natural? Learning. Well,
you know the funny thing, you are not sounding British. You're just speaking English properly.
Now, that's when you speak English properly, you cannot lose your identity. Because there's always the feeling of thinking, when I speak it right, I lose my identity. Having an accent doesn't really make you understand English better or less. Let's just get this very right.
So you
Jennifer, you can have an accent and speak very, very bad. It becomes very worse and an irritating.
Have an accent.
Exactly. So Jennifer is talking about losing her Nigerianness. But the truth of it is that you find it difficult if you want to be a global personality. Jennifer, you cannot just keep it, because whether you like it or not, you'll find it difficult conveying your message to those that do not identify with that accent.
True that.
Can I say something?
Because I want to bring in this.
I think, sorry. I think you're misconstruing what I said. Okay. So I'm not saying that the fact that you're trying to take away the accent is losing yourself as a Nigerian. No. What I'm saying is there's a difference between speaking right, the way you sound. If you listen to Chimamanda when she speaks, you can hear every word. You can pick everything that she's saying because she has been able to pronounce her words correctly.
Exactly.
And when she speaks very clearly. She doesn't necessarily have to shout or say too much for you to understand what she's saying. That's my point. All I'm trying to say is, based on what I have seen out there, especially when they are trying to teach kids how to speak right, instead of teaching them how to speak right, they are trying to teach them how to speak like the British, or how to sound American.
Let me let Isi come in.
Do you understand?
Yeah, I get you now.
So now, to address that question, I think the question should have been something like, what's the difference between speaking and talking? So I would ask that question, what's the difference between speaking and talking? Madam Vice President.
Thank you very much. You know, everybody can talk, but not everybody can speak. When I speak, you get my message there and then. But when I talk, I could rant and nothing is speaked out of it. So which one do you prefer? Do you want to speak or you want to talk? Animals talk, birds talk, even the non-living things talk. But why should I talk when I want to speak? That's the difference. I need to speak because I need a response. I need a feedback. It's like using the vehicle for communication. You know, the vehicle for communication. Now, communications, I mean, that's talking about the gadgets. If you do not use the real gadget, the right gadget, you don't get the right answer.
Exactly.
So why would I want to just use any gadget just because I want to?
Effectively.
I wouldn't. So talking, everybody can open his or her mouth and say something, but then when you speak, heads turn.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Okay, so when you speak, heads turn. You know, so because we're talking about the impact of right communication, I mean, I remember that when I just started my career in the media space, and I would go like in Nigeria, and I had the Benin nasal sound. I think that's the word.
London.
You know, those kind of things. You know? But my initial fear when our DJ of blessed memories came to meet us and said he wanted to start training us every Friday, you know, to help us with our words, pronunciations, how to read the papers and all of that. This concern that Jennifer raised was my initial fear, because I never want to sound like any other person other than Uwa. Yeah. And he goes like, no. So I think, again, maybe it's also who you are meeting. So you guys are in an association of Diction Coaches
of Nigeria.
This is huge. It's a big deal. Totally. What Jennifer is saying is not completely wrong. I believe that there must be some bad eggs. You know, so what are we doing as an association to get rid of those bad eggs? Because there are people, because that was my initial fear, but when RGJ started training us, I mean, sometimes I look back, I said, oh, is this how... You've come a long way, because where I am now is completely far from where I was when he met me, like, you know, when they say diamond in the rough. He met me in my rough state, and he taught me how to speak properly, you know, and I'm loving every moment. So most times I look at the word, I say, okay, and it's a beautiful feeling to know that you're speaking and you're speaking right. But you see, there would always be bad eggs, and that's why you have an association of coaches. So what are you people doing to rid those people of your, because they're giving you guys a bad name?
Well, of course, everywhere we have quacks. We have quacks everywhere. Yeah. Just like we do. Our case is not just reading them off, we're trying to retrain them.
Awesome.
That's our main target, because we have a dearth of coaches. So we cannot just read them off without, you know, first of all, trying to make them understand that this is the way to make it right. Yeah. Now, I agree with Jennifer, because I've had to go to my children's school to confront, I use the word intentionally, I had to confront the diction coach, and I told her, I said, you're teaching my children to sing like birds. I don't understand. Because, good morning, madam. How are you, madam? So it was just some undulating and rising and falling. Exactly. I said, that's not English. Can you just teach and my children had to tell her that that's not how it's spoken. And she took it a little bit personal. So I had to go there and said, look, I'm a diction coach. This is why my children acted the way they acted. So please, can we just... And I ended up voluntarily training my children's school. And I did the stuff, I think I did it more than 3 times. When I was okay, because I knew there's always this problem, the gap between the children learning at home, in school, and coming back to fall off. You know, some of them is going back to secondary school. Exactly. They do not have the best. So talking about reading or not, we don't read them off. But then we try to retrain, which is what we are intentionally doing we call it ADCAN, that's the acronym, ANCAN, we intend to retrain because we're hoping that they will learn, relearn, and unlearn. So there's going to be each moment, we're going to make it zonally, we're going to make it a national training, either within 3 months, between maybe the gaps of 3 months or 2 months, depending on the need. But definitely we understand that many parents are already finding it difficult accepting some of the voices they hear when they see their children. So we're definitely going to work on that.
Okay, so Milola, sorry, you want to come in?
I believe that learning and speaking properly is it's a personal journey.
Yes.
When you choose to do right by yourself, it's not because you think you're better than anybody else.
Exactly.
It's just for your enlightened self-interest. Whatever it is that I've chosen to acquire as a skill, it's for myself, primarily, And I am the one that define the matrix with which I measure my own performance. So it's not because I'm going to be a fashion designer that I need to speak properly.
Exactly.
It's not because I plan to run for public offices. It's just because I would love to put myself out there properly. And I think when people take it as a personal journey, you are less confrontational when you find somebody who thinks that you're not doing it right.
Precisely.
If there's any correction that comes to me in the way of pronunciation, it sticks with me because I make it a personal journey.
Conscious effort.
Yeah, so
improve self.
Yeah, so I was going to throw at that. Is it possible? Can anybody become better in English language? I mean, no matter how rough you are, because I remember there was a time I met a CEO of one big company. I mean, she was the CEO of the company, and she had a very bad H factor. She's from the, all those people that would say Sampion, Ibadan. I mean, she was giving us her story. That was what she literally told us her story. You say Sampion, Yongshan, those kind of,
strong,
those kind of strong accent. And she said that because when you talked about personal journey, it has to come from that point where I say, I need to
want to improve myself.
Yes, and I think that was what my coach saw in me. I just genuinely wanted to do better. So is it possible? Can anybody become better? Can anybody speak like you? Or is your funnel?
How long? Also, why are you answering the question? Please,
Oh my goodness.
How long does it take to improve? I understand that we all have a different learning pace.
Yeah.
And we all get better differently. But on an average, how long do I need to sign up myself?
That's saying improvements.
For me to say that, okay.
Intensively, if you're deliberate about learning, intensive 8 weeks could do a great job.
Wow.
Intensive 8 weeks.
That's 2 months.
What's the...
Three times a week.
3 times a week.
You can't you start from the scratch, understanding pronunciations, phonetics, all the transcriptions and everything. Because until you put them together, you might not be able. Now to answer Uwe's question, anybody, it's within. She just said it. I've met people that come to me and say, Regina, I like the way you talk.
Exactly.
Or you speak. And then they'll say, can I learn it? I'll say, why not? And once they have that interest, just interest, it's not even the passion. The passion will go in.
So what are we doing right? Okay, let's take some comments about it. So when we communicate right, what are the benefits? Because people need to understand why we're even talking about this. What kind of doors does this open for you as a person?
Personally, you have confidence, self-confidence.
Absolutely.
It has a way of, I jokingly tell people, I'm dark in complexion. And I've had issues when I got here. I've had issues, people talking about my skin. I never had it when I was in the north. But when I open my mouth, they forget that I'm dark.
It changes the narrative.
So it changes entirely everything. So nobody bothers to know my color. And all they want to do is to look at me.
And listen.
By the grace of God, I put it that way. And so it gives you self-confidence. And then in terms of opening doors, sometimes you might not be so intellectually high up there, but that you can speak.
You dazzle them with bullshit.
You dazzle.
Mind your language.
You could dazzle and get a position that nobody, the one that will say, I have come to. sit down and do this job.
Absolutely.
You would have gotten it before that person comes. So it has a way of opening doors that it's limitless.
It's limitless.
So who can be an elocutionist if one decides to say, okay, I want to be an elocutionist?
I like that
That's a
question
trainer.
because
You want to speak and teach people who can be an elocutionist.
anybody that has a basic NCE diploma, what we call it, bachelor's of science, anything. At least if you understand your basic verb subject agreement, you can put them together. Don't come and tell me to teach you grammar first. But once you know that, I'll be able to say, okay, from there.
Let's take comments quickly. We're not out of
Bring
time.
you on board the ADCM.
You know, it's just like my boss would say, if you cannot impress them with brilliance, you dazzle them with bullshit. That was what she said. And that was what I was coming
I won't say the word on TV.
It's actually running from the word.
I don't know who this is from. It says, greetings, ladies. The biggest impact of communication is so evident by our past leaders, Tafawa Balewa, Nnamdi Azikiwe. They were able to paint the vision strongly. Till date, their voices still echo. Today is a huge struggle to listen and understand many current leaders. Now, moving on, he says, this singular inability has slowed us as a nation. If you can't paint the vision clearly, how can the followers have faith to surmount all? Please, do we have exemplary leaders in government whose impact of communication is helping to move us as a nation forward?
One person.
Now, this is part of what we also are looking at for. I'm not going to say,
but I have one.
Who is that?
I can tell you.
Who is that?
Yes,
I can tell you that Fashola has a way with words. He might not be. Fashola has it.
And I think Oshibajo has it.
Fantastic.
Yes.
And I have someone that is an influencer, Fela Durotoye.
Yes.
You can't take it away from him. Sometimes you could just fall in love with him. Just watching him.
Another person that has it, since we went there, Samadeyemi does.
You're right. I listen to him.
We actually have some.
Then
female leaders. I mean, we have a few. I think Obi Ezekwesili, she tries to deliver her points clearly.
But we have them more in the entertainment industry, especially my auntie. Today is her birthday, Auntie Joke.
Joke Silva.
She's fantastic. She's phenomenal. When it comes to the language, she threads it nicely. And you cannot take it from Auntie. Lycett.
Oh my God, you know who Lycett?
She's actually the woman. I mean, when I listen to her, she's actually one of my mentors.
Oh, fantastic.
I love listening to her.
I love her as well. So let's take Milola's comment.
I have a comment, and it says, English is just like every other language. Speaking in a particular language means you understand its sounds and rhythm. If one of this is lost, the message conveyed could be read wrongly.
Who is this amazing commentator? I want to say thank you because you've summarized exactly what is on my mind. Yes. If I said it at the onset, I said, if you're speaking Hausa, even calling Hausa, it's a Hausa. I feel offended because it's Hausa. Why are you saying Hausa? So if we don't get the normal language, just like saying Kaduna, I say Kaduna, Abuja.
No.
Sometimes I'm like, what?
Abuja,
Kaduna.
All right, so learning the rudiments of any language helps one to communicate effectively in that tongue. And communication is never complete without a feedback. This is from Rafaela Corey. Jennifer, do you have one final comment to say, or should we just move on? Because we have like 1 minute to go. Let me give you the last word.
I have a question. So for people who want to improve on their English and how to speak better and be more articulate, what platforms can they go to do this?
Oh, okay, that's fantastic. We can wrap it up.
With all pleasure. Come to my platform. Jennifer, and I'm serious. They can come to my platform and I can tell them that they would not waste their money. And when I mean my platform, I'm talking about the Association of Diction Coaches. I can tell you,
Nigeria.
We have
of Nigeria.
A plethora of these great people.
Absolutely.
I can tell you that.
wow. So, no. We have to practice what we just learned. Thank you, Regina Ogbodo.
It's been an amazing
conversation with you. We hope to start to do the panache.
I cannot wait.
You know, like
One
that.
hour went by very, very quickly.
Very quickly, we were having so much fun. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Isi of Fodele.
No, don't allow me to say a word.
The Lord is with you. Thank you, Milola. We just needed you for moral support today. It's not that we didn't. It's not that we didn't know what to say, but we needed you to be here for moral support, and you did justice to the moral support. Thank you to everyone that contributed. Thank you so much again. Do we want to quickly take one final comment? I think I just saw a final comment. Where is this comment? Okay, now we are looking for the comment. All right, so it says, my humble greetings, ladies. Communication should be passed on with the right vocabulary, pronunciation, and the rhythmic effect. Oh my God.
Fantastic.
This can go a long way to influence a nation in that when a message is conveyed using the right tone, it suits the mind of its listeners. Thank you, but you didn't put your name. All right, so... Before we go, do ensure you follow us on Instagram. It's at PlusTvAfrica. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and more importantly, we're planning a giveaway to say thank you to you for believing in the Ways brand. Oh my God, I got a fantastic giveaway yesterday. Partnership. They want to be giving some Brazilian, Bohemian, bone straight hair. Oh God. All right, so make sure you follow us at PlusTvAfrica. You can join the conversation, like, share, and invite your family and friends to watch. So if you missed today's quote, here it is again. Communication is a skill that you can learn. It's like riding a bicycle or typing. If you're willing to work at it, you can rapidly improve the quality of every part of your life. So it's actually a rounded process. When you know how to communicate right, you change your life entirely. See you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. This will bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.